All right, so today's message is how to maximize your relationship. All right, so first I want to say don't stop dating her, don't stop dating him. Let's get to the word. Proverbs 25 and 24. Better to live in the corner of a roof than share a house with a quarrelsome wife. Proverbs 21 and 9. Better to live in the corner of a roof than to share a house with a quarrelsome wife. Proverbs 27 and 15. A quarrelsome wife is like the dripping of leaky roof in a rainstorm. So what am I talking about today is how to maximize your relationship. How to get the best out of your relationship. A lot of times, whatever you did to get that person, continue doing that. So if you were one, you like to take her out, or would hold her chair for her and push it in, then you should continue doing that. I think definitely, especially the men, you got to get back to chivalry. Opening the door for a woman, and things like that, because that's how you make them feel special. Not only that, it sets you apart from a lot of these dudes that don't know what they're doing, and it impresses her heart. That's what something you need to do. And then ladies, and vice versa. It's about, being classy. It's a way to dress. And I think sometimes women dress in a certain way and then they don't attract the right type of man, and they wonder why. But what I'm trying to get to the point is saying also is whatever you did to get them, it's also what you have to do to keep them. We talked about 50-50 in the last video. It's 100-100. But my thing is to maximize, to get the best results out of this relationship and maximize it. You should be able to do some things, to make them feel good. Whatever you want. If you're sitting there giving a maximum effort, trust and believe a woman is going to give a maximum effort back. That's just how they were designed anyway. But it's really the man that has to, put forth the effort. And not only that, the woman has to as well too. First, let me get this out of here. If a person does not want to do, if you have children or a child and they don't want to deal with your children, it don't matter how good they is, don't matter how successful or whatever, that's not a person for you. It's supposed to be a total fit or anything like that. Also too, it shouldn't be somebody you're with that's causing drama if you have a child. Like if they are okay with your child but they're causing drama, that's not somebody you want to be with or anything like that. But again, let's go back to the scripture. So Colossians 3 and 19 says, husbands, love your wives and do not be harsh with them. Never treat them harshly or be bitter. Ephesians 4 and 31. Get rid of all bitterness, rage, anger, outcry, slander, along with every form of malice. Then we all know the scripture, Colossians 3 and 18, Ephesians 5 and 25. It says wives should be submissive to husbands. Everybody know that. But again, it says right after that in Colossians 3:19, husbands not be bitter with your wives or anything like that. 1 Peter 3 and 7. Husbands in the same way treat your wives with consideration as a delicate vessel and with honor as fellow heirs of the gracious gift of life, so that your prayer will not be hindered. So if you're doing those things and you're not treating them any old kind of way, then God will honor that prayer. That's exactly what it talks about. And that's obviously what you want to do. Now, the difference is if you're actually in a relationship and, you're like, well, I'm doing everything, I'm giving this person, I'm giving it to them whenever they want, and they're not doing that, it's not probably somewhere you should be anyway. That's why it's very difficult. That's why, we're supposed to wait until you get married. Because if you do that, you can tell if a person really wants to be there. A lot of times some people do just to do these things that I was saying, just to get what they want, and then it changes. They be like, oh man, you was this and you was that. Well, obviously it shows you their true motives. And it's hard to get away from somebody if you're having sex with them. That's where them sexual ties come in, or anything like that. But as it talks about, especially like in a marriage, if you treat them with consideration as a delicate vessel, it says your prayers won't be hindered. So you can actually pray, God, well, I don't like this about her. Like, she's always nagging me about this or anything like that, whatever the case may be. But then ask yourself, Lord, show me what I can do better. So if you, again, like if you cater to your woman, she'll end up catering to you. That's what it says in the scripture, man. That's pretty much, paraphrasing, but that's what it says it'll do. Women were born to submit to a husband, you know what I'm saying? And again, if you do like what God is telling us to do, then that's what'll happen. And also, if you're not in a relationship, prepare yourself. You know what I'm saying? Get ready. You know what I'm saying? And then get rid of stuff that has bothered you for years. Don't compare her to the last relationship. Oh, my last girlfriend used to cook, man. She used to do this. Nah, don't do that. Give her a chance. She might not know how to cook. You can teach somebody how to cook. We were all taught how to cook. We weren't born here, came out the womb like, oh man, let me throw some eggs, some bacon, some grits, some pancakes. Nah, you gotta cook. You gotta learn how to cook. That stuff can be taught, man. A woman can be taught how to clean too. Saying depending on how they came up or been raised, but anybody can be taught that. A lot of times, we throw away good people because of stuff like that. You know what I'm saying? But get rid of this bitterness. Also too, I feel God telling me this. If you were one to sleep with a whole bunch of people, it's going to be difficult for you to trust one person because you just slept with multiple people. Some people sometimes you feel like that even for women. Sometimes they feel like, oh, well, ain't no good men, ain't no good women left. You know what I'm saying? It is. It is. But the thing is, you might have to change your pick. I remember back in the day, man, when I was, especially when I was DJing back in high school, when I was in a relationship, my choice was the ones that was, just be honest, it was the ones that always had the mouth, and you can kind of get them in the bed and they don't even have that mouth anymore. You know what I'm saying? But now I changed my pick, I changed my type. My type changed to somebody that loves God, somebody that's going to pray for me. Somebody that's going to say, when things get tough, like, babe, listen, we're going to sit here and we're going to pray. Somebody that's going to hold me accountable. You know what I'm saying? And say, they know the calling that's on my life and be like, listen, this is what we got to do, and somebody that wants to read the word with me, somebody that wants to study with me, and this is for me, like I'm saying, but, I changed my type, I don't like that drama. I never was one to argue, and I definitely don't want nobody that's always posting something on Facebook every time you have some little situation or whatever like that, And, and nothing wrong with having somebody that say, you know what, I was wrong. I apologize for what I said. But again, I changed my type. Somebody that wants to come in and, help me with the children or anything like that. Somebody that don't want to cause drama, like, again, you can change your type, saying even for ladies too, a lot of times, they'll be like, all right, well, I'm going to pick the finest dude and this dude out here. Like, no, it might be a brother that, he cute. Because I feel like it has to be some type of attraction. So, when choosing somebody, you just ain't going like, oh, man, I'm going to stay with him. He's an ugly dude. You know what I'm saying? I heard somebody say, ugly people don't cheat. Really? Okay. But anyway, no, I'm saying he might just be cute. You might have to teach him how to dress up or say, listen, babe, this is what I like you in, whatever the case may be. I mean, those are people, what I'm saying, you never know. All the time you see people like, oh, I need somebody that can be my best friend or run to or anything like that. Like somebody in that friend zone, and they're a great person. You laugh with them, you joke. A lot of times people don't understand that. They think like, oh, well, I just, I want to date this person, but, you just that friend I always run to and I need somebody. Well, maybe that's that person. Maybe. Now, if they're in another relationship, that's a different story. But again, just want to tell you about, maximizing and also too, just waiting on God. Like you can, and that's what God said. God can send you somebody that's just right for you. Somebody that's going to help you. They're not going to be perfect because nobody's perfect. Don't get me wrong. But they'll be, perfect for you. And also too, everybody has flaws, but cheating is not a flaw. If a person is a cheater, like to do things deceptive, shouldn't be talking to that person. You should let them go real quick. Trust me, trust me. You'll save yourself a lot of headache. Like I said, when I changed my type, and watch out, who you date now. It's different. So it's like, all right, this is where I'm at. I tell people, hey, this is how I am. I want to grow closer to God. If a person has a problem with that, hey, I understand. That's cool. You know what I'm saying? Sometimes two good people just don't fit together. That don't mean they're a bad person. It's just where I'm trying to go. So I need somebody that's going the same direction as me. So again, you know what I'm saying? If you go ahead and cater to that person and they catering to you, then there you go. You know what I'm saying? But don't ever stop dating that person. Whatever you did to keep them, continue doing it. And, you know, men, you know what I'm saying, get back to chivalry. Just, you know, opening the door, you know what I'm saying, holding their hand, you know what I'm saying, little things like that. I mean, if she watched football, man, watch one of those love movies or something, or Lifetime, you know what I'm saying? I mean, you wanted her watching football games, she might not like football. Some of them do like football. But if you do if you want her to do what you like to do some of the things that she like to do. That's all, you know. So, I mean, you know, find a love story movie that she would like, that you like. That's all you gotta do, you know. You can make it simple. All right, I'm out.